about that. That's why you
All right, now
welcome
now we're
everyone.
ready.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Day in a Life of an Asset Manager and an Underwriter and another asset manager. So, Lorik and I do asset management. Tyler does underwriting and acquisitions. We're really glad to see all of you here today. We have moved this meeting to once a month. It'll be the first Monday of every month. And basically, we do want to give you information, but we also want to have it as a forum where you can come on, ask questions, and if you have things that we can maybe help you with, give you some direction, that's what we're here for. So, and as we get further along, I think you guys will understand the format and maybe even a little bit if you have a question or something, go, oh, I'm going to ask that on Monday. So, but as always, we are here to help you. So if you do have something that you need information on, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You have our contact information. If you don't, I'll have Tyler drop it in the chat, which is our website. And then you can go on the website and request a schedule a meeting with Lorik, myself, or Tyler, depending on what your questions are. So if you ask something that's too technical, I'm going to send you to Tyler. If it's about underwriting and if it's too much on asset management, I'm going to send you to Lorik. So don't be offended. We want to make sure you get to the right person with the right information. So I have a question. I want to know, have any of you ever heard of an asset management team? So this is something a little bit different. So any show of hands of people that have heard of it? Okay. Actually, we have someone on this call that has act on an asset management team. So hopefully, she'll be able to give us some feedback because all we know is from how we see it on our side. So that would be awesome. Hate to put you on the spot, Rachel, but thank you for joining. I know this, you probably didn't know you were joining to be grilled, but hey, that's how it goes. So what we do when we purchase a property is we create an asset management team. So the team consists of GPs. So those are people that are part of the sponsorship or part of, they are involved in investors. So we have those on there, but we also have LPs on the asset management team. So that means someone that has just invested in the property. Typically, those are students. They're most of our LP investors, they're very versed um, in investing in real estate. And so they don't, that's not really what they're interested in. But we do have people that are interested in really understanding how multifamily works and what it requires to get the property. How do we, purchase it? What do we do once we buy it? And then with the asset management team, they really help us out. It is not a paid position. It's just kind of a little bonus, I guess. And what we offer is you're able to attend the property management calls. Your camera isn't on and your mic isn't on. And if you have questions, you send them directly to me or to Laura, who's ever running the PM call. Because we want to make sure we cover everything. So it's always good to have other people listening and helping us. Because sometimes, even though we have an agenda, sometimes things just fall through the cracks. And so we really appreciate those times when I do get a direct message that tells me something. So that is how the beginning of the asset management team is listening to the PM calls and really starting to understand. And then we have a call right after that call. That is the asset management team call. So when you are involved in this, you definitely are doing 2 hours a week. When we buy a property, the first year we meet every week with the PMs. So if you are working to getting your hours to be able to take the depreciation as being involved in uh, real estate to take those losses, you have to have, gosh, I don't remember how many hours. I'm so sorry. You have to have, is it 500 hours? You have to have so many hours a year to
750.
750. Yeah, we can add your hours up. So that's one way that you can, increase your hours already. You're going to have 2 hours a week, and then any work that's done. So, Rachel, I'm going to call on you. And do you want to just maybe talk about what it's been like? Because you've been doing this a year, right? At a year.
Yes, it's been a year now. I love being on Cindy and Lorik's asset management team. It is great fun. I got to watch this property from the beginning. I got to watch the transition with the takeover. Um, got to watch as the property got cleaned up from some really crazy tenants. I remember the rattlesnake man, and we think he ate it. So anyway, but it was better than when he was waving it around. So there's been characters and interesting events. Plus watching the eviction process for the tenants who were more troublesome or weren't paying. Watching the process with HUD and Section 8 and how forming relationships with the inspectors and things like that can really help to get referrals. The property that I'm on with Cindy and Lorik is across the street from a military base. Watching how important it is to have a contact at the military that you can ask questions to that will come off the base, because you can't just go on the military base and be like, oh, don't you want to go live with over here across the street? They don't let you in, so they have to come out to you. And seeing the miracle that a really amazing property management team can perform on a property, how much they can get done, and that kind of synergy that's created. Down to seeing how Lorik and Cindy and the team get out the K1s and information to investors. I've gotten to be on all of those calls. I take the notes and I help create the monthly newsletter, which is the investor report. And it's been a pleasure to be able to really have my hands on this information and putting my heart into it as well, to add value to the team and to really get to know them. And as an investor, I really like seeing that each month. I hope that the investors find value in it as well. And then just having a voice. I feel like I have a voice at the GP table without being a GP, because over the year that we've gotten to know each other better, I find that I feel like they value what I have to say, and I have more intelligent things to say now that I've learned so much. And yeah, and I love just working as a team.
And I have to tell you, Rachel is amazing. She creates our newsletter and she does the minutes. She doesn't have to do both, but she does. There's a couple other people that help with the newsletter occasionally, but I feel like a lot of time it falls to her. But the way this is set up is we have about 5 different positions that are in the asset management team. So we have a note taker, we have someone that does the newsletter, someone that helps us with the K1s. We also are always trying to help the PM. So I want you to think about this from a 10,000-foot level. The PM, what is their job? What is the property management's job? Someone drop it in the chat. Just unmute yourself. What is their job? What is their number one job?
Make the business plan successful.
execute. I was going to say execute the plan.
Their job is to lease and collect. That's really what we want them to do. And so, for example, on this property that Rachel was talking about, we had a lot of parts and pieces that were strewn everywhere. And we decided that we would bring in one of those storage containers, like the shipping container They're about 2,500, 3,000, something like that. You know, the really big metal container. And so we thought that would be a good way to store all of these things that have been accumulated and just are strewn everywhere. So rather than have the PM or the on-site who should be leasing and doing tours call on that, the asset management team took it on because there's a lot of making phone calls and, you know, what's the best bang for our buck and how much should they charge to deliver? How much space do they need? There's lots of pieces that go with that. And so the asset management team took it on. The other thing that the asset management team took on this particular property is we had a dilapidated basketball court and the bank. Now, when you buy a property, the bank is going to have things that you have to do. It's just the way it is. There are certain things that they consider life and safety. So that could be a crack in the sidewalk. And then they give you about a month to get that done. Then there are some things that need to be done in 6 weeks and then things that need to be done in a year. And one of the things that was like our year had to be done before the year was up was this basketball court had to be repurposed. Either it had to be, you know, have baskets because it didn't have the standards and the goals. So either that had to be remade into a real basketball or we had to do something different with it. Well, we wanted to talk as an asset management team. What can we do with that space? And so we talked about that, came up with a couple of different ideas, and then I took that information to the GPs. So we went to the GPs and said, these are some ideas. They came back and said, you know, we like some of this we need to keep investigating. So we were able to take part of it. One thing is we decided that we were going to turn it from a basketball and we were going to make it a picnic area. So we ordered picnic tables and had them delivered. We want to put up a covering. So we're investigating, are we going to do a pergola with a solid roof? Are we going to do a big fabric sail like they have at Disneyland? Are we going to put in a grilling station? And so the asset management team does this work. They're the ones doing the projects. So there's sometimes where you'll have something like if you're the note taker, you will be on every call to take the notes. But if you're working on a project, then you don't have to be on there all the time. What I love about this is we own a property anywhere from 5 to 7 years, and it changes. I have a property that is in Kentucky, and I had someone that was doing the note taking and doing the newsletters, and she ended up getting a full-time job. And she, my only request is if life changes, just let me know, because we have between 5 and 10 people when we first start out, and then people kind of drop off and people take responsibility, and then they maybe have a change in their life, they get married or something happens, and then they don't do it for a while, and then they come back and say, hey, I'm ready. Or maybe they got their own property, so they're like, hey, you know, I can't give you my time right now because I got my own property. But what that means is now they've seen some good ideas of how to do it, and they know, okay, this is what I saw. I can follow this example, good or bad, maybe follow it, maybe not follow it. But we want to give people a place to start, especially if you are planning on asset managing your own property. I know there will be a day when I do not have Rachel anymore. I just know that she's going to have her own property, but I also know that she will be so good at it. So that's what we're looking when we talk about an asset management team. So if you are investing in a property, it doesn't have to be my property, just any property, always ask the sponsor, do you have an asset management team? And if they say no, they may not even know what it is. So just tell them, hey, you know, I know that they have them. It's not a paid position. It does, you know, ebb and flow, but it's someone to kind of help your asset manager take some of the burden off of them and allow them to work with the PM, because really the asset management team, I honestly don't do a lot of the research because I'm still working with the PMs. I'm still wanting them to get their leasing up. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do on marketing. How are we going to get these military people in? So that's really what I'm focused on. But the asset management team they're like ducks. They're just kind of going along, but underneath they're just a turning and turning. So it's very important, I think, to have an asset management team. I think it not only shares the workload, but it does allow people to kind of pull back the curtain, see how it all works. So you have that information for your deal. And then also just to hone those skills, because all of us are kind of nervous when we start out, but we did a playground at a property and it was about $60,000. So we're talking, we want to be very wise with our money, and playgrounds are a national thing. You have to call national companies, they bring them in a big truck and they have people that install them, but you have to get the area prepared. So we've done that on another property where we had someone on the asset management team. That's what they were in charge of, to get us the best playground for the best amount of money. And this particular one, we wanted it installed before Christmas break to give our residents a place for their children to go play when they were out on Christmas break. And so that was one of our requirements. And she told them that, like, I have to have it installed and completed by the end of the second week of December. Guess what? It happened. So I think these are just things that we can do that help us be involved if we have money that we invested. Some of us like to be passive investors. Basically, we just want to open the mailbox and get that check, or we want to open our bank statement and see that ACH went through. And that's okay. I mean, that we need a lot of those, and that's okay to have. But if you really want to have a better understanding of multifamily and how it works and why it works, this is a really, really good way. So I want to answer any questions you may have because I have been talking.
I have a question, Cindy, and I hope you feel better first.
Thank
You mentioned having some students that, LPs sit in on the asset management team, and there was a reference to, I think, real estate professional status to capture depreciation. So you allow LPs who are not GPs but participating actively in those calls to capture some of that depreciation or count the hours toward reps. I mean, I guess it would count toward reps anyway, right?
Absolutely, because I mean, it's a real estate adventure. You don't have to have a license to do this, but you do have to have the time put in to be able, and especially when we're doing a cost segregation, if you want to be able to take that. I do know there are some CPAs that aren't really stringent, but there are some that are. And so, yes, those hours would count, not only the 2 hours a week that we're in meetings, but anything that you do, that's part of moving that real estate. I'm going to ask Rachel again. I'm scared to hear the answer because her newsletters are perfection. So, Rachel, how many hours does it take you to do a newsletter?
Well, I was trying to estimate it when you were talking about depreciation. So I would say it's averages about an hour a week. But if I do it all in one go, I probably spend around 4 or more hours on it. Yeah, about 4 hours a month.
Yeah. So that's going to add up as well. And then if you have any kind of research you're doing, but it will add to it. So I definitely think that's a good way to be able to get your time in to be able to take that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Have any of you ever thought about doing this? I know this is if you've not heard about it before, maybe you haven't ever considered it, but I guess, do you see the value in being able to do that?
Great value, yeah, especially when you're first learning.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really helps you understand what makes it work, how it works, why it works. And I don't know about you guys, but when I first started multifamily, it felt a little bit like the Wizard of Oz. You know, you'd go talk to the Great Wizard and you pull the curtain back and it's just someone, you know, and that's us. We're just on the computer trying to get things done. And that's really what it is. But if you don't know, first off, you don't know what you don't know. And then how do you know the questions to ask? Um, if you don't see what's going on behind. And that's what I love about having the asset management team, because there are some GPs on there and that's just kind of by their choice. But I love that we're able to collaborate and then take it to the GPs and say, you know, this is what we recommend. And we're talking about people from all walks of life. So it's not just people that are in multifamily, that they have other jobs, they have other things that they do, experiences from their past jobs, and they bring all that in. And the asset management team, you know, I make you can't have your camera off. You have to have your camera on. You can't be muted because I want us to talk, because it's all about a collaboration of this is the problem or this is the situation. What is the solution? And we just really collaborate to come up with solutions. Sometimes the solutions we come up with, they won't work for whatever reason. And that's okay. That just means that we go back and we start all over. I mean, we had this, we were trying to do a covering for our little barbecue area, and it just got that we couldn't get it to work. We tried all different kinds of things, and I'm kind of the person that if it gets complicated, I'm out. Like my life needs to be easy. And so if things get way too complicated, and oh my goodness, it got so complicated where people, I promise you, were measuring the wind. Like they were, how much wind comes through this area. And I'm just like, okay, we're just going to put that on the back burner because it's not important right now. It is important now, but at the time we had other things to worry about. And I'm like, we're just going to put it on the back burner. So we put it on the back burner. We have a different property management company, and they came in and said, oh, we've got a couple solutions for you. So by us putting it on the back burner, it worked out great because now we have someone that is in that town, has faced the wind issues, and they can help us. But I mean, just us as like not weather people, like we're trying to understand the jet stream and how it's coming in. It was quite hilarious. So, but we just backburned it from it. Yeah, I personally love it, but I love asset management. So what can I say? To me, the 2 hours go by really fast. It does seem like a lot in the beginning. After the property is stabilized, which we usually give it a year, then we'll go to every other week. We don't really ever go less than that. Well, so we will maintain every other week. Just because I can't go that long without talking with the PMs and see what's going on at the property. Do you guys have any other questions? Doesn't have to be related to asset management teams.
Do you use any software to maintain and follow up the real estate professional hours?
I do not. I would recommend you just use Excel. That's what we use for a lot of things, is Excel. Yeah. We actually use that. We have a
You
scorecard.
could.
Go
I
ahead,
was
bud.
going to say, if you're trying to track your own personal hours, you could use a free app like Clockify or something like that, just so you could punch the clock and have a report that generates that shows like these are the hours that I worked on this project or this property or however you wanted to set it up. So, I mean, we use Clockify with our part-time employees, and we've used Clockify on different projects and stuff like that. All the free time cards that you can use, it's my favorite one. And you could definitely use it for something like that to track your hours if you're trying to hit that, that 500 hour. So.
And the link is, or the name of it is in the chat. And we use that with our part-time, because this person works on 8 different properties, and I want to be able to see like what project they're working on, how long did it take, what property. So there's another one too. What was the name of that, Todd?
Rep Stacker.
Reps tracker, yeah. I don't think it's free, but I love it. So, and it's on my phone and my computer.
Yeah, Clockify is free. So if you want to start out with something you don't have to pay for and just see if you're going to actually use it, I think that's the biggest thing is, are you going to actually use it? So, but it would be, I mean, you can use it when you're researching, when you're looking at properties, when you're talking to brokers, you know, all of that when you're putting time in. So you want to be able to keep track of it. Go ahead, Carla.
Thank you. Yeah. And this is another software question as well. I currently use MileIQ in order to follow my miles for everything. But I'm wondering if you use, does MileIQ, you set up your account and then it's just one lump sum. You can't really identify easily for which property or for which thing. Do you all do everything on one account, or do you maybe like log in and log out on different accounts on MileIQ, or maybe you use some other software where you can stack different companies or different properties that you may want to log in that information?
Well, you may find out more about me than you want to know, but I don't drive. I mean, I have a driver's license and I know how to drive, but I would prefer to be driven. So I don't have anything like that. I don't know. Um,
And we don't typically bill for mileage, so we don't usually track that. I mean, I have all of our trips logged, and like I have my Google account logs all of my trips and stuff like that. But yeah, we don't typically bill for mileage, so it's not something that I've really done. I don't know if maybe somebody else on the call has a mileage tracker that they use or recommend, but
Carla,
Yeah.
do you mean just for like tax
Yeah,
purposes?
for
Yeah.
tax reasons, yeah.
I did use Mileage IQ when I had my accounting business because I wasn't going to different, I mean, it was all for meeting with clients. It was all kind of lumped together. So
Yeah.
it was one business. But since I've been in multifamily, I haven't used it.
Okay, I appreciate you all.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions that we can answer for you guys? Make sure you have systems. I will tell you that. Let's see. Rachel said she's used Hurdle, HURDLR, to track her mileage. Is it free?
There's a paid version of it that will even interact with your taxes, but I just used the free version.
All right.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I hadn't heard of. I'll check it out. Thank you.
All right. Anything else that we can
yeah, we
help
do
you guys
have.
with?
I was just going to say, as far as like tracking business expenses and all that stuff, we do have QuickBooks that we use. We have Desktop Pro. You can't even get that anymore. So we're on a grandfathered in contract. I'm sure QuickBooks hates us. But yeah, so all of our properties are in QuickBooks. They each have their own book, and then we have our own business accounts, and so it's a lot more cost effective for us because we have like 15 companies that we manage in there, and now QuickBooks would make us pay for 15 licenses. So, but yeah, so we do all of our tracking expenses and our like bill back for trips and all that kind of stuff is all handled through QuickBooks. So, yeah.
All right. Chris? Well, we look forward to seeing you the next Monday, which is going to be the first Monday in June. And we'll be sending out reminders. Is it June 2nd?
Yep, June 2nd.
We're traveling that day.
Of course.
No, but we're not physically traveling. We'll just be at a property.
Yes.
So that's
Yep,
fine.
we'll be in
at a
Texas.
property. We'll be in Texas. So I'm in Florida now, go back to Arizona, and then we'll be in Texas. But yeah, we will have it and we'll send out an email to remind you, and we'll give you a little agenda so you can kind of see what we're going to talk about. So if you can have your questions lined up, We appreciate you kind of rolling with us today. It was like I didn't even know if I'd make it to this call or not, but I did. So it worked out great. So thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you guys in a month.
Also, don't forget.
Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers for this upcoming weekend.
Yes. Happy
Yes.
Mother's Day.
Also, don't forget, tell your friends, the people that are not on this call, that are usually on this call, and all that stuff, that we're going to be there. It starts on the first Monday of every month. So,
Okay.
Yes, pass it along. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
All
right,
right.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.